In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 snowman DIYs for winter. For the first one, I am just taking this board and I'm using some watered down white paint to completely cover the board, but I'm not going to do a full coverage coat. I want some of the wood to show through so that it looks kind of rustic. Now, I'm not painting the very top of the board because I'm going to be covering that with a hat. Now this is just a piece of wood that my husband came across after he had cut some of these pieces for me. And he asked me what I was making. I said snowman. He said, here's you a nose. And it is perfect for this snowman in particular. I painted it orange, and then I'm just taking my sanding block and taking some of the paint off the sides of it. Now I'm using that hat I was talking about to put onto my snowman. Just going to put it on the top there. And I'm going to glue down the nose with some hot glue. And then I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue under the hat to make sure that it stays in place as well. I'm going to glue on this foam snowflake. I'm going to use some black paint. I'm going to give my snowman some eyes. Nothing fancy. I'm just going to make a circle, and then I'm going to leave like a half moon part in the white. I'm going to do this on both of the eyes. I will be adding highlights later, but this is all I'm doing to them right now. Now I'm using this stamp tool that I made. I just made a circle with hot glue and then stuck an old paintbrush down into it, and this gave me a round stamp. And this is making the snowman's mouth. And I'm taking this old scarf I had, I'm cutting it double the size that I've needed and then cutting that in half so that it's not so wide. And then I'm going to be using that to make the snowman's scarf. Going to put some glue on it here and there and along the back as well to hold the scarf in place. I'm going to tie a knot in it, and this is what it looks like set up. I'm going to add those highlights in for his eyes. And there we go. Okay, for this next one, I'm using 4 different size boards: 7 inches, 6 inches, 5.5 inches, and 6.5 inches. Now these are just rough cut, they're not perfect or anything. And I'm going to paint these also with that watered down white paint because I do want some of the woods to still show through. I'm using some blue felt and this fleece that has polar bears on it to make hats and scarves for my snowmen. I'm going to make each of my snowmen look a little bit different. There's actually going to be 2 snowmen and 2 snowwomen. So I'm just making a little scarf. I'm going to cut some fringe at the bottom of the scarf there. Now I'm going to make his hat. Going to cut out a square, and then I'm going to glue that onto the board. And then I'm going to take a piece of the same material and tie it around the top to gather it together and cut some fringe on the top of his hat as well. Now for this next one, she's going to be a snow woman, and I'm going to make her some earmuffs using a pipe cleaner and some pom-poms. I'm not gluing them to the side because these are going to be standing up next to each other, so they're kind of in the front a little bit. And then I'm using that blue felt to make like a collar around, and then some white pom-poms I'm going to glue onto the front of that belt. Now for the next one, I'm once again using that fleece with the polar bears on it. And I'm going to use that to make both his hat and scarf. I'm going to add some trim to his hat using the blue felt. I'm also going to use the blue felt to make sort of a bow onto his scarf part. And then I'm going to glue on a blue and white pom-pom. Now for this one, I'm using the blue felt to make her hat. I'm going to make her hat look like the first one's hat, only this one's just going to be plain blue. Cutting in the fringe and tying it up. And now I'm going to use some faux fur to make the trim around her neck and also the trim around her hat. Just like that. Now I'm going to use some of the same blue and white pom-poms that I put on the scarf on top of this snowman's hat. I'm gluing threads together to make the sides that I needed. Now I'm painting on their eyes. And I'm using this baby pink color, just using my finger to give my snow girls some blushy cheeks. I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush to give my snowmen their mouths. And now I'm painting on their noses. And giving their eyes some highlights. That's what each one of them looks like. They're so cute. Now I'm going to paint letters onto each of my snowmen, and they're going to spell out the word snow. So for my first one, I'm painting on an S. And then for my second one will be the N. An O on this one. And then this one is going to have the W on her. Now I'm laying my snowmen out so that I can glue a board to the back of them to have them all stand up together as one piece. You want to make sure you lay them out in reverse so that way they will be all facing the right direction whenever you pull them up. Just putting lots of hot glue on there, and now I'm going to press my board down into there for a few minutes. And voila! Now for this last one, I'm using these pieces of 2x4. They are about 4 inches in size, and I'm using that watered down white paint once again to paint these, and I am completely covering all the way around. And then I'm using my sanding block to take some of the paint off around the sides to give it a rustic look. Now that piece is going to be the bottom, so I'm not doing anything with it, but I'm going to glue some buttons onto the middle piece, and then I'm gluing some more buttons onto the top piece for the eyes, and then these beads that I painted black for the mouth. And this is just a piece of rope that I'm using for the nose. And I'm also going to paint this piece of rope orange. And then we just stack them up. You just want to stagger them a little bit. And that's it. So simple. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.